لقد كان لكم في رسول الله أسوة حسنة لمن كان يرجو الله واليوم الآخر وذكر الله كثيرا.
الحمد لله وحده والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده ولا أمة بعد أمته ولا كتاب بعد كتابه ولا شريعة بعد شريعته. أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الذي فرض عليك القرآن لرادك إلى معاد. صدق الله العظيم. Respected viewers, welcome back once again to our program, The Perfect Example. In our last program, we had looked at how Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam wanted to bring peace in the Arabian Peninsula, and one of the threats with regard to that were the lawless Arabian tribes who thrived on lawlessness, who thrived on looting and aggression, who were not bound by any alliance or treaties or agreements. In fact, they changed treaties and agreements to suit their benefit for the day. Some would say very similar to today's time, although it is sometimes camouflage under the guise of civilization. But Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam managed, and we gave many examples how Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam sent Sahaba, sent Umar radiallahu anhu to Hawazin, and sent Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu to other tribes, sent Abu Ubaidah ibn Jarrah to Sayful Bahr to deal with the Juhayna tribe, and then the miracle of the amber fish coming as an unexpected source of sustenance was related. Then we also spoke about the breaking of the truce of Hudaybiyah by the Quraysh. How they did this was that Bani Bakr were the allies, Bani Khuza'a were the allies of the Muslims, and an offshoot of Bani Bakr, the Bani Nufasa, its leader Nawfal bin Muawiyah had certain grudges against the Khuza'a, and he used those grudges and the fact that there is a peace treaty to attack members of the Bani Khuza'a at a water hole known as Watir. They took refuge in Makkah Mukarramah, and when they took refuge in Makkah Mukarramah, instead of the people of Makkah reminding them we have a treaty with the Muslims, of which Khuza'a are an ally of the Muslims, they in fact turned against they helped the Bani Bakr to try and even kill some of the leaders of the Bani Khuza'a. And as we ended off last week, that Amr bin Salim Khuza'i went to Medina Munawwara with 40 people to complain about the violation of this treaty, and Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam heard them out. Amr bin Salim Khuza'i was very eloquent. He made mention of the breaking of the treaty through the means of poetry, and Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam heard him and said, you would be helped. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't say much. He said, you will be helped. I will not be helped if I don't help you, because we are part of the treaty, we are part of the same treaty. And if they had attacked you, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam ascertained if the people of the Quraysh were part and parcel of this. And when he came to realize this, Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam sent a message. He sent a message to the Quraysh. And in that particular message, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, either pay blood money for the people who have been killed from the Bani Khuza'a, or either you announce that you have revoked the treaty of Hudaybiyah, or either you take action, or you say that this particular tribe, because of them violating the truce, they are no more part of the truce, so that we could deal with them directly. And the Quraysh and Qurta ibn Amr rejected all of these treaties and said, we don't care about the treaty. And when Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam heard this, Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam now realized that this matter is serious, and the Quraysh, they have done this knowingly, and we have to deal with them. However, when the reality of the situation hit the more senior leaders of the Quraysh, they started regretting it. First, in the excitement, they helped the Bani Bakr to kill members of the Bani Khuza'a tribe, which were allies of the Muslims. And they got happy with that. They were led by the excitement, but thereafter, the enormity of it then reached them and hit them. And they realized that for the sake of petty gain, we might suffer enormous loss. When the Quraysh realized the enormity, they sent Abu Sufyan to go and renew the peace treaty. Abu Sufyan also went because his daughter was in the nikah of Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Habiba radiallahu ta'ala anha. And he first went to his daughter. And of course the daughter showed him a degree of respect. But when he was about to sit down in her room, there was a blanket that was there. She removed the blanket. And Abu Sufyan was quite taken aback, keeping in mind and feeling that hospitality demanded that you keep the blanket. Why do you take it away? Habiba was very firm in faith. And she said, "Oh my father, you are a disbeliever. You worship idols. This blanket belongs to the Nabi of Allah. I don't feel it appropriate that you should sit on the blanket that has been occupied and Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam prays upon." And Abu Sufyan told his daughter that you have changed into evil ways. And she said, "No, evil, not evil ways. Allah has granted me respect, and Allah Ta'ala has granted me the ability to be able to see the truth away from the darkness of disbelief, away from the disbelief of idol worshipping. And why do you still worship idols that cannot benefit or harm you?" Abu Sufyan then was taken aback by this, and he went to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in Masjid Nabawi, and he tried to plead his case that this was an isolated incident and that we are not going to continue in this way. He wanted to renew the peace treaty. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam did not show any inclination. The breaking of the peace treaty happened on behalf of the Quraysh. Bear this in mind, because sometimes there are historians which paint a different picture and try to portray as if Muslims violated the Treaty of Hudaybiyah by conquering Makkah, which will follow after the violation of the peace treaty by the Quraysh. And Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam told him, did not give him any indication. He went to Abu Bakr, said, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam had said so, we follow the Prophet of Almighty Allah. Went to Umar radiallahu anhu. Umar radiallahu anhu said, as far as I'm concerned, if I wasn't even in favor of the peace treaty. And even if there is nothing but dust with me, I would go and make jihad against you. So, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam did to the peace treaty, and Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam had his wisdom. He was inspired by divine guidance. That is Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's situation. My situation is, I'm not going to tell you anything. Then he went to Hazrat Ali, and Hazrat Fatima radiallahu anha said, you are the daughter and the son-in-law of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Why don't you intercede on my behalf? Tell Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam to renew the peace treaty. And they also didn't give any positive indication. He then said, Hassan, oh Hassan, you are a very noble child. You are going to grow up to be very noble. And he was 3 or 4 years of age. And why don't you go and intercede? And if you go and intercede, history will look upon you as someone who reconciled people. How amazingly, Hassan radiallahu anhu was to play that role when he brought about peace between himself and after the martyrdom of Ali radiallahu anhu and Hazrat Muawiyah radiallahu anhu, which paved the way for Hazrat Muawiyah radiallahu anhu to become the undisputed leader of the Muslims after Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu. And nevertheless, Ali radiallahu anhu then, to get him off his back, so to speak, went to him and said, why don't you go to Masjid Nabawi and you announce loudly, I have renewed the peace treaty. And he did so, and he came back to Makkah Mukarramah, and they asked him, did you renew the peace treaty? He said, well, Muhammad did not agree, but I stood outside Masjid Nabawi and I shouted that I have renewed the peace treaty. People laughed at him and said, Ali radiallahu ta'ala in a way had taken out the mickey out of you by making you do something. How can that peace treaty be in any way regarded to be still valid? And you have renewed it when the Prophet of Almighty Allah, the leader of the Muslims, did not agree with regard to his ratification or did not agree with regard to his renewal. So Abu Sufyan tried to bring about the ratification and the renewal of the peace treaty, and Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam did not agree. In the meanwhile, Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam realized that the Quraysh had done a serious mistake by breaking and violating the peace treaty. And Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam then told the Sahaba to secretly prepare for war. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam first told Hazrat Aisha radiallahu ta'ala, they started preparing, and she started preparing food. Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala one day came past Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha preparing this food. What are you doing? The Nabi of Allah ta'ala told me to start preparing. Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam spoke to Hazrat Abu Bakr, spoke to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, also got the news. Secretly they started preparing. And the news went out that we will prepare this army, but we will not let the Quraysh know with regard to our intentions. And we will bring about and we will attack them because of they violating the peace treaty in such a way that when we reach them, they must not know anything about it. In the meanwhile, Hatib bin Abi Balta writes a letter to the people of Makkah, informing them of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam getting ready to attack Makkah Mukarramah. We will deal with this incident after the break.
لمن كان يرجو الله.
Respected viewers, welcome back once again to our program, The Perfect Example. Before the break, we were dealing with Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. After the violation of the peace treaty of Hudaybiyah by the Quraysh, Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam told the Sahaba to get ready to invade and conquer Makkah Mukarramah. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam bade everyone to keep this a secret. Such was a discipline that when the Muslims did come around the outskirts of Makkah, the people of Makkah had no inkling with regard to the Meccan army of over 10,000 people traveling through the desert to come to Makkah Mukarramah. Such was a discipline. There was one exception. Hatib bin Abi Balta wrote a letter to the people of Makkah. And this was to emerge. And Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was to come to know about it through the means of wahi. And he wrote the letter to the people of Makkah. Look at the letter. The letter was, O people of Makkah, the Prophet of Almighty Allah is coming with a force. Such a force like the flow of a river. You would not be able to stop him. And Allah's help together is with him. If he comes alone, Allah's help will grant him victory. He is coming together with Allah's help with such a great army. Therefore, my advice to you is not to resist the Prophet of Almighty Allah. And Hatib bin Abi Balta wrote this letter. Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam sent 3 Sahaba. Ali radiallahu ta'ala, Hazrat Zubair radiallahu ta'ala, Hazrat Migdal radiallahu ta'ala, and he sends them to a place called Rawda Khaq, and said, go to Rawda Khaq. You will see a woman. She will be carrying a letter. And you bring that letter back to me. And when they went there, they saw this woman. She denied the aspect of a letter. But when they threatened her that we are going to search you, rather bring the letter without us having to search you, she produced the letter. They bring the letter back to Medina Munawwara. Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam reads the letter. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam sees this. And Umar radiallahu anhu becomes enraged. Umar radiallahu anhu takes out his sword. Ya Rasulullah, Hatib is aliyadu billah, a munafiq and a hypocrite. How can he write a letter, express it against you, express it, commands and instruction, not to inform anyone with regard to it? Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam asked and said, Oh Umar, wait. Let me ask and seek an explanation from Hatib. Hatib is called. And he said, what is the reason why you wrote this letter? And he said, O Prophet of Almighty Allah, I believe that Allah will grant us victory. I believe that we are on truth. I didn't want to betray Muslims, but I have certain interest in Makkah Mukarramah. And I felt that if I show some form of goodness to the people of Makkah, I have family in Makkah Mukarramah, maybe because of the fact that they come to know about Muslims attacking Makkah, they will look out for something to vent their frustration. And because I'm a Muslim, and my family is Makkah Mukarramah, they might vent that frustration against my family. I feel if I do them something good, that goodness would prevent them venting their frustration against members of my family. That's the only reason. Otherwise, I'm not a munafiq, I'm not a hypocrite. I believe that Allah will grant you victory. And Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam then rebuked Umar and said, Oh Umar, don't you know that Hatib took part in the battle of Badr? And Umar radiallahu anhu took away his sword and said, لَعَلَّ اللَّهُ أَتَّلِيُ عَلَىٰ أَهْلِ بَدْرٍ. Maybe Allah Ta'ala had revealed to you something about the people of Badr that I'm not aware of. And therefore I cannot do anything against Hatib. Our ulama tell us such a great lesson, such a great lesson. If someone has a pedigree, someone has a reputation, someone has a track record of doing something good for the community, and if one day, sometime, he does something wrong, are you going to wipe away the right that he has done? Are you going to wipe away the good that he has done because of that one mistake? Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, because of this apparent mistake by Hatib bin Abi Balta, said, don't do anything against him. Don't you know? He took part in the battle of Badr. And Umar withdrew saying, لَعَلَّ اللَّهُ أَتَّلِيُ عَلَىٰ أَهْلِ بَدْرٍ. Perhaps Allah has revealed to you something about the people of Badr that I am not aware of. Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam thereafter leaves Makkah Mukarramah on the 10th of Ramadan. It is the month of Ramadan that great battles took place. The battle of Badr took place in the month of Ramadan. The conquest of Makkah took place in the conquest of Makkah took place in the month of Ramadan. Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam leaves with 10,000 people, 10,000 great people. And Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam leaves Makkah Mukarramah. And then Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, on the way in Abwa, Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam meets his two cousins. That's a very interesting incident. In Abwa, Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam meets Abu Sufyan bin Harith, and he was the son of Harith bin Abdul Muttalib, and Harith was an uncle of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Harith was his cousin, and he was also the foster brother of Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. They drank milk of the same woman. And then there was another Sahabi, also the uncle of Nabi Karim, the cousin of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and his name was Abdullah bin Ibn Abi Umayyah. Abdullah ibn Abi Umayyah was the son of Atika bint Abdul Muttalib, the aunt of Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So these were two cousins of Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam who grew up with Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and they were very close to Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, especially Abu Sufyan bin Harith. He grew up with Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and he was amongst the people whom Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam had close relationship in the earlier days of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's life. Now when this particular matter happened, after Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's prophethood, these two cousins of Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam turned against Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Abu Sufyan ibn Harith in particular composed poetry degrading and disgracing the Prophet of Almighty Allah through the means of poetry. Abdullah bin Abi Umayyah, the other cousin, the son of the aunt of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he told people that even if Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam climbs a ladder and I see him climbing to the heaven, and he comes back from Allah, which I see, and Allah Ta'ala saying after he climbs up the ladder that he is a prophet of Almighty Allah, I will not accept in him. I will not accept in him. And Abu Sufyan bin Harith's poetry was responded to by the poets of Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Hassan ibn Thabit and Abdullah bin Rawaha. And now Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and they came and they met, well, why have you come? We have come to show regret. We have come to show our mistake. We want to accept Islam. Because of the hurt that they had caused Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam initially didn't want to meet with them even. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, no, I don't want to meet with you. Leave aside your regret. What you have done to me hurt me tremendously. And this is so important. You know, the Arabic poet had said, جَرَحَاتِ السَّنَانُ لَهَا الْتِيَامُ وَلَا يَلْتَامُ مَا جَرَحَ اللِّسَانِ. That a wound inflicted by the sword can be cured, but a wound inflicted by the tongue takes very long to cure. And this was a Nabi of Allah, but yet he was a human being with emotions. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam remembered that this degrading and disgraceful poetry that Abu Sufyan had composed, and it hurt Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Therefore, O viewers, be careful what you tell people with your tongue. Through the means of the tongue, people are very greatly hurt. And sometimes that hurt causes them to remember that hurt for a long period of time. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was reminded about this. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam went into the tent, and Salma, who accompanied Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in this journey, Salma and Maymuna radiallahu ta'ala accompanied Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in this journey of conquest of Makkah. And in this way, Salma was very matured, very elderly, very wise woman. And she said, Ya Rasulullah, you're looking worried. These two people have come, and they were my cousins. Look at what they have done. They have come to do this and that. You know, a woman can play a very important role. I just wonder sometimes, what would have been the case if in today's situation, a relative of yours who had abused you previously, who have done wrong to you, who had usurped your wealth, and he comes to ask for forgiveness, and you go, and you tell your wife with regard to it. I'm sure in today's time, the wife would turn around and said, they were all the time like that. They abuse you. Don't even look at them. Don't care about them. May we be sacrificed upon our mother. What she said, Ya Rasulullah, you show mercy and kindness to others. These are your cousins. These are your cousins. These are from your own blood and flesh. Ya Rasulullah, show mercy to them. If you show mercy to them, their lives will be made. If you do not show mercy to them, they are doomed in this world and in the year after. Ya Rasulullah, show mercy to them. May we be sacrificed upon the wisdom of Salma. Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam came out, and then these two cousins, and Abu Sufyan was also accompanied by his son, was known Ja'far. And he went to Ali radiallahu anhu and said, "Oh Ali, we have showed." And Ali radiallahu anhu was also their relative, also their cousin. And they said, "Ali, tell us what must we do? How do we approach the Nabi of Allah?" And Ali radiallahu anhu said, "Go to the Prophet of Almighty Allah and go the way the brothers of Yusuf went to Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, and they showed regret. Go directly to the Nabi of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala." And they went, Abu Sufyan, Abdullah bin Abi Umayyah, and they went and they said, "Ya Rasulullah, we have done wrong. We have done and we are regretful with regard to it." And Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam then said, "And we have come to you the way the brothers of Yusuf came to Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam." And Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Go. If you have come in that way, I will tell you what Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam told unto his brothers, La tathriba alaykum al-yawm. No reproach. May Allah forgive you. I have forgiven you." Abu Sufyan thereafter became such a sincere Muslim that he never ever looked at the face of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam because of remorse. And he composed amazing poetry with regard to his regret. Now this happened on the way when Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam was on his way. The way the Quran had said, "We will return you back to Makkah Mukarramah, which you had earlier in your life had left because of the persecution." Inshallah, in our next program, we will look at the conquest of Makkah, which contains so many great lessons. May Allah give us the tawfiq of understanding. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.
لقد كان لكم في رسول الله أسوة حسنة لمن كان يرجو الله واليوم الآخر وذكر الله كثيرا.